next topic with you, that is electromagnetic wave. Very important in your day-to-day life. You will find many applications of electromagnetic wave, which is of course made up of varying electric and magnetic fields perpendicular to each other, which are again perpendicular to the direction of propagation. This is just to begin with the things that how we have come up with this term electromagnetic wave, how we have reached up to this conclusion. And basically it was Maxwell who took out all these studies ahead by studying Ampere's circuital law, which you have already studied, that is your surface integral of B dot dl, that is equals to mu naught I. That is your Ampere's circuital law. But Maxwell said that this law needs some modification, and the law with you is that it is integral of B dot dl, it is equals to your mu naught into I plus ID, where ID is the displacement current. So for proving the same thing, he took this example of connecting the capacitor, spherical capacitor parallel to each other, and it connected with the source of the current. Then what it is, when it is in the gap, the continuity was missing. So he said that varying electric field is there in between this gap, and because of that magnetic flux is there, change in magnetic flux is producing the current, which is your displacement current. And he proved it mathematically, also experimentally proved this thing, that this displacement current in magnitude is same as that of the conduction current, which is there in the wire I. If I take dq by dt, then if I find the value of the displacement current, that also comes out to be same dq by dt. So he proved this thing mathematically, because we have done in the previous lectures that if I'm having parallel plates are there, or here parallel spheres, circular sheets were taken having the charge, and then the electric field with whatever is there in between these parallel sheets, that is given by sigma upon epsilon naught between two parallel plates, as we have already done. And this sigma is surface charge density, so can be written as charge upon area, means Q upon A. And if I take the flux phi E, that is given by electric field into the area, so it is coming out to be Q into epsilon naught. And years it is current is given by IC. If I take the charge capital Q, then your current will be given by dq by dt. It means IC, it is equals to dq by dt. And when I'm here talking in this gap, then ID, if I take the value from here, epsilon naught d by dt of phi E is capital Q upon epsilon naught. So I'm getting this ID also equals to dq by dt. So as a result, in between the gap, there is some current, and as a result, continuity of current is there. Proved by saying this time is a time varying electric field is there. Because electric field is varying with time, it means it is there in this gap also, and there is no conduction current, and here in the wire it is conduction current, no displacement current is there. So these things, they are equal. He proved it mathematically and hence modified the equation, which is termed as Ampere-Maxwell's equation. And he studied all these things and he modified, he gave these Maxwell equations, which is of course are known to you now at this minute. He formulated all these sets of equations, 4 equations he gave, and these 4 equations, they are termed as Maxwell's equation. First equation is of course Ampere-Maxwell circuital law, where he discussed about the displacement current. Second is surface integral of E dot ds, that is equals to Q upon epsilon naught, which is the Gauss law for electrostatics. Third is Gauss law for magnetism, that is surface integral B dot ds is equals to 0. It means that is further supporting that no monopoles exist, but isolated electric charge can exist. So the fourth equation is, which is given law, Faraday's laws, and then Lenz's correction. I can say this was given by the integral of E dot dl, that is producing the magnetic flux. So this was a negative sign was given by Lenz's law. So Faraday's equation, second law I can say, and Lenz's correction. This he took as the fourth equation with him, and these four equations, they formed the basis of the electromagnetic waves. So this is the basic source of EM wave, how the EM waves are produced. So if I'm having a charge which is made to oscillate harmonically, if a charge is made to oscillate harmonically, then it is producing the electromagnetic wave. It means if a charge is at rest or if it is in steady motion, then it is not going to produce the EM wave. I should have an accelerated charge with me, and because of the accelerated charge, electric fields and magnetic fields are produced, which are varying in time. Till now also we have discussed number of times that when I vary the electric field, then magnetic field is produced. Similarly, when I vary the magnetic field, then electric field is produced. So by varying electric and magnetic field, which are varying with the time, so that time dependent accelerated charge should be there, that is producing the EM wave. And first of all, this was experiment was done by the scientist Hertz, who he did the experiment to prove this thing that yes, I can prove the electromagnetic waves. And he took the arrangement as we have discussed LC oscillations in the previous class, that by having the inductor and the capacitor in parallel to each other when we are joining, then LC oscillations are produced, able to produce the electromagnetic waves of wavelength nearly 6 meters. 6 meters is the wavelength he was able to produce, and he took this arrangement with you. And after it, J.C. Bose, Indian scientist who worked to produce the waves of wavelength 25 millimeter to 5 millimeter inside the lab only boost the electromagnetic waves for the communication purpose. And nowadays, you know, most of the times we are using the electromagnetic waves for the communication purpose. In communication, we are using the electromagnetic waves most of the times. So that is important, how we are using it. Of course, we will be talking about that also in detail. So you have to see this, many scientists, they have worked to prove the presence of the electromagnetic wave, and then they found the applications of the electromagnetic wave in your day-to-day life. The basic application is for the communication purpose. And this is that they are transverse, and electromagnetic waves, they are having the transverse nature. That is, if we want to prove, then we have taken this parallelepiped, you can see, and this was again, the experiment was done by Maxwell only. He could produce, he could show the variation, and E and B, they are mutually perpendicular. As well, they are, these electric and magnetic field, they are perpendicular, and further they are perpendicular to the direction of propagation. So if I am taking x-axis as the direction of propagation of the wave, then y can be taken as for the variation electric field, z can be taken as the variation of magnetic field. So all three are mutually perpendicular. So this is by taking the mathematics, you can say that if wave is traveling along x-axis, and if I suppose that electric field is also, that your electric field is varying along the x-axis. So if A is taken as the area, or S I can take as the area, ds can be taken as the small area. So for the first surface, theta is 0, as I have written, and for the second surface, theta will be equals to 180. So then you can put the values here. This first surface, I'm saying theta is 0, and for second surface, theta will be 180. So if I say Ex is the field for the first surface, for second surface it is Ex dash, then I can say that Ex it is equals to Ex dash. It means electric field is not changing along the x-axis with the time. So it means I can say that electric field along the x-axis is static. So if it is not changing along the x-axis, it means it is not parallel, but it has to be perpendicular to the propagation of wave. Similarly, if I wish, I may take that B component here, and then I can prove on the same lines. I can say that B is also perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. So it means both your electric field and the magnetic field, they are varying perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. So it means your wave, which is the here, you can draw the diagram also, that if I am taking this x as the direction of propagation of wave, then electric field can be taken along the y direction and magnetic field can be taken along the z direction. So this is perpendicular to each other. Electric field and magnetic field, they are perpendicular to each other, and these both are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. So wave is propagating along x-axis. That is simply to prove the transverse nature of the electromagnetic wave. So electromagnetic wave, if you wish, you can write it is simply the variation of electric and magnetic field along the perpendicular directions to each other, and which is further perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. So this is of course varying sinusoidally. And like we have written the equation of progressive wave in 11th class also, you can write the equation for the electric field as well. You can write the equation of magnetic field. So you have to find the partial derivatives for this, and then you have to find the velocity, which is the speed of the electromagnetic waves, which is can be written as c. And then you can prove, of course, E naught amplitude of electric field, V naught is the maximum amplitude of the magnetic field. So this is, you have to see this diagram, of course, is important. And of course, we will be dealing with the properties of the electromagnetic waves in the next lecture. Keeping things up to this. Thank you, everyone.